I'm convinced people wear objectively weird clothing items on purpose just to be a little bit different. And as much as I celebrate and encourage individuality, some of these I just can't wrap my head around. For example, people are wearing garden clogs casually. And I think that GQ is to blame for this. They have covered these a number of different times. It's definitely in that menswear category. Shout out Gerald Ortiz, by the way. He really is a stylish dude. But these just look so weird. And can you believe they are almost sold out? Now, I can't even wrap my head around how somebody sees these and thinks like, yo, let's throw them in a fit or something. Where do you even begin? And I'm not opposed to clogs or mules, something that you just want to slip your foot in and head out the door. Things like the Fear of God California, I've been a big fan of. And of course, the Birkenstock Boston. Sometimes you don't need to change things. The Birkenstock Boston is perfect. Even those ALD clogs are all right too. I've seen Eddie Wynn style these and he made them look fresh. You may or may not agree that those look good, but trust me, it gets worse. Here I am scrolling through Instagram and suddenly some guy shows up on my feed rocking jelly shoes. No offense to bro, by the way, but it couldn't be me. Now, I think that these look terrible, and for this reason. When I was a kid in the late 90s, early 2000s, this was a shoe that you saw like little girls wearing. So I have like a very difficult time connecting like a fashionable outfit with something that like little girls wear. Now, 100% you could be saying to yourself, Bryce, you're just not confident or stylish enough to rock these. And I think you might be right with this one, to be honest. And GQ is also trying to push this flip-flop agenda, okay? This has been like a hot button topic in fashion recently, is dudes wearing flip-flops. I'm certain you guys have seen this where you see a nice, well put together outfit from a guy on Instagram or social media and he's just got his dogs out. And I do want to say this because it is summertime. If you are going to the beach, you're on vacation or you're by the pool, I can completely understand. But if you live in a major city, you're strolling around trousers, polo shirt or something, looking fresh, and you got the puppies out. Like, it's not as stylish or as comfortable or as supportive, wow, I'm turning into an old man, as a pair of sneakers, so why would you go for flip-flops? And GQ, they're providing recommendations, they're saying it's coming off the runway, and I think that this is proof that not everything that is seen on a runway looks cool. But I think the big thing for me, it's always pants and flip-flops, which doesn't make sense. It's not even functional. Like, if you're hot, just wear shorts. As some of you guys might know, I just had my wedding in Europe. I was out there for 4 weeks, and one of the things I saw everywhere are Fisherman Sandals. I think I have beef with sandals. I think that's the problem. Anyways, any store that I went to, whether it be H&M, Zara, COS, any high-end stores, there were Fisherman Sandals everywhere. And similar to the jelly shoes that I was talking about, this is like the epitome of like an uncle, grandpa shoe where like, you know, you've seen them at the cookout or the barbecue. They've got the shorts tucked with the big belly, t-shirt tucked into the shorts with these sandals on. And I just have a hard time connecting these with like a fashionable outfit. And while we're here, let's talk about Crocs. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I think we are in a Crocs pandemic. And don't get me wrong, Crocs has come a long way, okay? Some of the stuff they've been creating recently are actually pretty decent. But I think it's the big picture of what Crocs represent, which is laziness. And the idea of putting like absolutely no thought into what you're wearing. And don't get me wrong, socks and sandals around the house, you know, you're sitting by the pool, you know, even if you're an athlete, you know, wearing flip-flops to a game is kind of like a rite of passage, and then putting your athletic footwear on. But every third shoe I see out now is like a pair of Crocs, and it's somebody rocking Crocs with jeans. And I just think that we personally can be doing better. First impressions are so important, as we know, and there are more affordable, more stylish options that you can go with, honestly. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big house slipper guy, okay? I like things like the UGG Tasman, you know, better colors, better materials, and I just think that overall they're more stylish. All right, now let's talk clothes. Now, you guys may or may not have seen this, but there is literally a boxer short trend going on right now. Women and men are wearing shorts that look like boxers. They're these super thin, short shorts that are made from a poplin material. They oftentimes have stripes on them. Like, these things must be a nightmare to wear. Like, that's one of the things I think about when wearing shorts is like, is there a spot to put my keys, my phone, and my wallet? And like, if they're all moving around and there's a huge bulge, I just absolutely hate it. And you might be thinking to yourself that this is only for women, but Stussy just put out a pair of these as well. Last year, GQ named Paul Mescal one of the most stylish men on the planet, and this was one of his viral outfits, okay? So I'm not just making this up. And this brings an important topic in fashion, which is to avoid the extremes. Because the next trend that completely throws me off are super baggy jorts. Like, it gets to a point where they start to look like a man capris, which for me just ain't it. Now, you definitely see this more so on the streetwear side of things. And I think part of the issue is my age as well, because I remember vividly the super tight, skinny spray-on jeans era, and I can't help but think that this is like the modern version of that. We look back at those times and cringe completely. But imagine 20 years from now, these guys that are wearing borderline man capris, like how are you are definitely gonna look back and think the exact same. And I've got no issues with relaxed fit shorts. One of my favorite shorts that I've picked up this year are from Clogs. Loose fitting, fits just at the knee, you really can't miss, so I'll link them in the description if you're interested. All right, this next one might ruffle some feathers, but it is the mullet haircut. For some reason, it has become like a male prerequisite to get a mullet. I've seen finance bros, dads, and I think this loops back to what I was saying earlier about people wearing like kind of tacky things on purpose. Because growing up, the mullet was always like the worst haircut that you can get. Remember Joe Dirt? You know what I mean? Like, oh, it was always like the bad guy or the bully in any high school movie had the mullet haircut. But somewhere along the line, it's become like the trendy thing to do. Now, I've had the same like average white guy haircut for the past 20 years, so I know I can't talk. But I'm confident that in like 10 years time, you'll be chatting with your friends like, hey, remember when we all had mullets? Another one of the strangest trends this year was boots only summer. Now, if you don't know, this was like a quick social media TikTok trend where people were wearing their football boots casually. Now, some of you may know I am a huge soccer fan. I've played my entire life. I still to this day play twice a week. And you may think that I like this trend, but this is the dumbest thing I've ever... No, to be honest, I don't think people were actually wearing their football boots casually. Like, it's just extremely unpractical and uncomfortable. But I think it was just a fun social media spur trend kind of thing that allowed people to just show off their boot collection, which I think is kind of cool. One thing that is 100% true, though, is like football culture has completely taken over, you know, the sneaker scene. When you think of the Samba, the influence that shoe has had, those Louis Vuitton shoes that look like football boots, there's the Nike Total 90, the Predator revival, like you name it, soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, is by far the most influential sport. Now, if you're interested to know the best summer fashion trends this year, from pleated shorts all the way to German army trainers, why don't we check this video out right here, and I'll meet you guys there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.